Good evening, everyone. Treasure Troller here from the partially mask-wearing militant state of Michigan. So like I said in the title, nothing Michigan tonight. Was that clickbait? Or was it not? You just have to listen in. So I was going to talk about some of the men in our lives. The first thing is, and I hope I can find this because I'm talking after I saw it and not, I didn't take a screenshot of it, but they posted I guess you could say a health assessment of the dementia chief, and hey, he's good to go. Everything there is fit for office. There's nothing to see here, people. So please leave President Biden alone. Try to post the written statement from his doctor, who might be a chiropractor in real life. But anyways, we have Fetterman first, who's checked into the hospital for depression. I just first kind of think, once he got in office and he got that Cadillac health insurance, that's when he decided to take advantage of them health insurance benefits. I'm really curious as to how this is going to go, because there is nothing therapeutic about working in Washington, D.C., long hours with people, constituents, hounding you, party members hounding you, media hounding you, your family wanting time, not to mention you have concerns about prior health issues, your inability to effectively communicate or hear people. You really think a combination or those issues, do you really think they're conducive for a therapeutic regimen of depression? Like, this is a good thing for depression? I'm asking you. There's just too many. There's too many things there that are going to be really putting his coping mechanisms to task. So I don't really see it. To me, Fetterman is kind of like that employee, that new employee that's hired, that's really excited to have a job, really excited to work here, and then they keep having reasons why they have to miss work. You got to go help my mom. My car didn't start. I overslept. Whatever. But they really wanted to be here, but they didn't quite. Always have an excuse that keeps them from being there. So that's Fetterman. Then we have Bruce Willis. And they come out with Bruce Willis has frontotemporal dementia. And they were happy that they got a specific diagnosis of Bruce so they could bring this issue to light. And I'm not really sure why they needed to. I think a majority of people that have read up on Bruce knew he had dementia, along with aphasia, but a dementia diagnosis, we didn't need to hear it from a press release concerning Bruce Willis. We see it every time Joe Biden is on camera. And we also, for instance, even with Fetterman, health issues are just no longer issues. There's no reason to bring this stuff to light because, well, apparently it really doesn't matter. Aside from that, you know, my father pretty much went through the same thing that Bruce is going through. I don't really find the dementia diagnosis, the formal diagnosis, that, I don't know, that in some, I guess for them it's comforting, but to me, I would be more concerned with the aphasia. Aphasia, kind of like having a boa constrictor around your neck. And the dementia, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't get better; it only gets worse. But I think with the aphasia, like I said, it affects your speech, and eventually it affects the swallowing, and you go from being on thickened liquids, and you go to a G-tube. So I think if there was something to really I guess want to bring to light, I really think the aphasia, because there's a lot more physical things that go along with it than the dementia. Then we get to first Brett Farve and then Don Lemon. So I was watching Jason Whitlock the other day, and he had Brett Favre's attorney on, and they are suing Shannon Sharp and Pat McAfee. I think that's what his name is, Pat McAfee. And I didn't see the original Pat McAfee show, which he was using the word allegedly a lot. It's allegedly Brett Farve got paid from this nonprofit, and allegedly the money came from the state funds. And if these allegations are true, he was pretty adamant about reporting an alleged crime. That wasn't good enough for the attorney, and according to Pat, they wanted him to delete everything that they had with Brett Favre and issue an apology. And Pat McAfee said, even my wife says I find it hard to apologize. So Brett Favre's attorney said, well, if you find it hard to apologize, we'll just take you to a trial in Mississippi, and a Mississippi jury can find you guilty, and they'll order you to pay millions of dollars to Brett Favre, and that will be your apology. You will learn to apologize. And then after I'd heard Pat McAfee's talk of the allegations, I really didn't think there was much of a case against Pat McAfee. But I kept thinking, when he brought up Mississippi, the only thing I could think back to was the movie My Cousin Vinny, when he was asking Joe Pesci, when they were ordered to stand trial, and it wasn't Ralph Macchio, it was his buddy that said, well, why didn't you do anything? He's like, why didn't you say something? He goes, say something? He says, you're your 2 kids from New York. You killed a good old boy. There ain't no way this ain't going to trial. I kept thinking, after he's been found guilty, you know, after he's got ordered to pay millions, he's like, well, why didn't you do something? Why didn't you say something? Because, you know, you're a rich guy from the big city. You offended a good old boy. There ain't no way that Mississippi jury wasn't going to find you guilty. So that's what's going, the my cousin Vinny, so I think that's what's going to happen to him. Then I forgot the last guy. God damn it, I knew I'd forget it. See, that's what's hard. You got to kind of go by memory. It's too dark and you can't really look at papers. So give me a brief second to remember we had Brett Farve, because it wasn't that big of a deal one. Oh boy, and it's not about Michigan either. I'm stalling here for time. Let's see, we did Joe Biden, we did Fetterman, we did Bruce Willis. We're running long. I wanted to do, and I probably said it earlier before I get to him, and I did it to try to remember. See, I'm getting dementia. Damn it. Well, I can't think of it. So you're seeing dementia right before your eyes. Oh, I know what it was. Ha ha, Don Lemon. So Don Lemon, I think the producers of whatever morning show he's on have told his co-host, hey, look, it's a train wreck. There's no need to, like, try to stop the train or try to help push the car off the tracks. Just stand back and watch the train wreck. So I'm just going to add a segment that Megyn Kelly had on where Dandy Don Lemon was talking about women, referring to Nikki Haley being in her 50s, and for 50s, for women in their 50s, that means they're past their prime. And if you don't believe Don Lemon, you can just Google it. You can Google it. So I'll play the segment, I'll add it on, and you can watch the segment for yourself. So with that, this is Treasure Troller saying aloha, good day, go blue.
We've got to start with Don Lemon. I'm sorry, but we do. So he has been stepping in it time and time again over at his new fledgling, failing CNN morning show. And the latest comment that he has made, I would submit to you, is just the latest in a series of truly sexist comments by this guy. I don't know how much longer CNN can allow this to go on. But here was him, here was Don Lemon reacting to Nikki Haley, suggesting that if you're over 75 and you want to be in political office, you might need to do a competency test. And here was Don Lemon reacting to that on CNN.
This whole talk about age makes me uncomfortable. I think it's the wrong road to go down. She says people, politicians or something are not in their prime. Nikki Haley isn't in her prime. Sorry. When a woman is considered to be in her prime in her 20s and 30s and maybe 40s.
What are you talking? Wait.
That's not according to me.
Prime for what?
It depends. I mean, it's just like prime. If you look it up, if you Google when is a woman in her prime, it'll say 20s, 30s, and 40s. I don't necessarily.
40s. Oh, I got another.
I'm not saying
decade.
I agree with that. So I think she has to be careful about saying that politicians aren't in their prime.
We need to qualify. Are you talking about prime for like childbearing, or are you talking about prime for being president?
What the facts are. Google it. Everybody at home. When is a woman in her prime? It says 20s, 30s, and 40s. And I'm just saying Nikki Haley should be careful about saying that politicians are not in their prime and they need to be in their prime when they serve, because she wouldn't be in her prime according to
Google
or whatever it is.
Okay. So if don't shoot the messenger. If you Google it, Google tells you a woman is past her prime when she's after 20, 30, maybe 40, he says. If you Google CNN, it comes up as the most trusted news source. So we can't always rely on Google, Don. And I have to tell you, I'm so irritated by this guy. And honestly, his misogyny, and I don't use that word about a lot of people, but there's a pattern with him. The absurdity of suggesting that a woman is past her prime when she is 51 years old, like Nikki Haley. I just pulled just for fun, just for kicks, because you guys are both historians. Some of the best known women on earth in modern history. Margaret Thatcher, she was 54 when she became prime minister of Great Britain. Nancy Pelosi became Speaker of the House for the first time when she was 67. Past her prime. Sorry, Nance. Kamala Harris was 55 when she became the Vice President of the United States. Ketanji Brown Jackson is 52, newly placed on the U.S. Supreme Court. While we're on the subject of Supreme Court, Eleni Kagan was 50 when she was confirmed. Sona Sotomayor, 55 when she was confirmed. Mary Barra, CEO of GM, was 53 when she took over that role. She's now 61, but past her prime. Suzanne Scott over at Fox News became CEO of Fox when she was 51. Susan Wojcicki, CEO of YouTube, she's 54. I could keep going. And by the way, what an insult to people like Dana Bash, who's 51, and his colleague at CNN. Sorry, past your due date. What does he mean by prime? The co-anchor had an instinct that this was offensive, but frankly wasn't effective enough to actually shove it down his throat. And recognize, are you referring to childbearing years? Because that is something women can mostly only do in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. And he wouldn't even sign on to that. But just childbearing is not what determines whether a woman is in her prime. What an ancient, anachronistic, stupid way of evaluating a woman's worth. The truth is, all those women I just mentioned, most of them did have kids when they were in their 20s and their 30s and their 40s. And then they went on to achieve huge professional success after they did all of the things that women are capable of doing, raising families, having babies, which only we can do, right? And instead of getting credit for that, for doing it all and achieving huge career heights in their 50s, they get reduced to, you're a nothing. You're post your due date. You're stale. You're over because you're not at the age where you could service a man in having a baby. This is blatant sexism, and shame on him for doing this on the air. And frankly, those other women on set with him were pathetic and weak in calling him out. He deserved a more robust response. He deserves it now from the colleagues at CNN. He deserves it from the colleagues in the news industry and the bosses at CNN. And it's not the first time. It was a couple of months ago that S.E. Cupp was on the set with Don Lemon and forgot her words not long after having a baby. And this is how he handled it.
13% of Republicans want a total ban on abortion. 70% of Republicans
Sorry. You lose your train of thought. I do it all the time.
I did, but...
Is it fair to say this? Because I'm not a mommy, but is it mommy brain? Is it you?
No, Don, I just
call it COVID.
I forget what I'm talking about all the time.
No, you ass. It has nothing to do with her mommy brain. People forget their words, male and female. This is a pattern with him. Remember when he asked whether a Bill Cosby female rape victim who said she'd been forced to perform oral sex, she should have just gotten out of it by biting down. What an idiot. He doesn't understand anything about women, about America, about prime. He's 56, by the way. I guess he'd be the first to tell you he's still in his prime, but the internet says that we women, we're well past our prime, so we about to be put out to pasture. I'm sorry. This is absurd. I've had it with this guy. Okay, I'm done with my rant.